It's very easy to be bearish right now in the crypto market. However, I do think that this is going to cause a lot of people to be sitting on the sidelines when these charts flip bullish again. I've been talking about how XRP on the lower time frame structure, aka the 24-hour span, has been pretty bearish. We are in a series of lower lows and lower highs. We want to see this chart break to a new higher high, especially on the lower time frame. The good news about that is that our next major high here is right around roughly $2.57. The question here, though, is are we going to break the resistance that we are trading against right now around $2.23? In order for us to really break out and target this high back here, we need to see some bullish momentum. A lot of people were hoping for the ETFs to really help. So far, they have, right? I mean, if we're going all the way back to like November 22nd, this is where Bitwise, and also I think it was Franklin Templeton, both of them went live, or it might have been Grayscale and Franklin Templeton. Now that I'm thinking about it, but regardless of that, it did help XRP push to the upside. But we need a lot more here. In fact, I want to see XRP really start to regain significant momentum. But the main thing that I'm looking at is XRP regaining significant support going all the way back to the beginning of the year, where we were trading at about roughly $2 and almost 75 cents. Now, I did also mention in my video from last night that liquidity will improve. And I do believe that December is going to be that time frame for that, because the Fed is ending QT. We know that it's going to happen on December 1st. That's a huge signal for the markets. It's not going to be an immediate reaction. And then by December 10th, we will have the FOMC meeting where we decide if we are going to cut interest rates again or not. Now, the reason why I do think that liquidity is so important in this space is because all of 2025, we have had liquidity constricted. I mean, if we go all the way back to January, here's the beginning of the trade war. It completely wiped out liquidity from the market all the way from January into April. Then we started to, bounce back slightly. Then we started to hear more discussions about trade wars and tariffs and things like that, wipe the market out again into the summertime. Then we start to bounce back in a big way into July. And again, what happens? Tariffs, trade war, start to sell off a bit. Then we have the government shutdown that lasts well over 40 days. Again, constricting liquidity even more, squeezing all of the life out of the market. And then that led to October 10th with market makers going bust. When we think about what has happened all of 2025, liquidity has been absolutely wiped. But starting in December, we could start to see liquidity improve again. That's where we really start to see the much bigger picture around crypto form for us. That picture is us flipping bullish yet again, because liquidity is your friend in this space. Without liquidity, the market will continue to sell off. So December is the main focus for liquidity to improve. Now, during this time, a lot of people are getting very bullish on XRP. We have over here, XRP holds steady at $2.18 amid ETF momentum and low reserves. This is actually talking about, XRP's price chart, how it has a 11% weekly gain, despite a 15% monthly decline, leading large cap performers. Binance reserves have fallen to 2.7 billion after recent outflows, signaling accumulation by institutions ahead of rising demand. Spot ETF filings like 21 Shares' recent submission for a December 1st launch bolster optimism alongside on-chain signals pointing to $2.80. Technical suggests $2.22 as the key level for an uptrend, though a drop below $2.17 testing lower supports. Now, we are going to be getting a 21 Shares launch on December 1st. We'll be talking about that later on in this video. But it's crazy because Cointelegraph, which is typically very bearish on XRP, has been starting to post a lot of bullish content around XRP. We have here bullish. XRP is flashing multiple bullish signals as charts, on-chain data, and ETF inflows point to a potential rally towards $2.80. We will not get that unless we start to break some of these previous highs. Now, I would agree $2.80 seems pretty fair because that will be us flipping this support zone. That's my main target anyways on XRP right now. After that, we start to target some of these previous highs because again, the structure here has been very bearish, even going on the macro side of things, because we have all of these higher highs that they're no longer higher highs because we have lower high structure. And we lost significant support. So yeah, XRP is pretty bearish. However, I do want to invert this chart and ask you guys, what do you see? Do you see us falling more, aka pumping more, or do you see us dropping, aka pumping? Because this is inverted. In my opinion, I do believe that XRP will have a strong reversal very soon, and that's going to be very exciting to watch, because if we start to carve out some of these previous highs, then XRP could be in a very significant uptrend with significant bullish momentum, really pushing it to higher prices. Now, on top of that, Cointelegraph reposted this on the 28th, saying latest spot XRP ETF filings are surging as legal clarity, institutional demand, and strong market infrastructure put XRP ahead of other altcoins. Again, almost all of these posts from Cointelegraph have been very, very bullish. And I don't think that I need to remind you guys that Cointelegraph has been pretty bearish on XRP over the years. Now, on top of that, Peter Brandt. Peter has been a XRP bear for so long. In fact, he was so bearish on XRP back in 2017, right before that big push to the upside. And now we have him being very bullish yet again on XRP, which is, I know it's a change from his bearish outlook back in 2017, but recently he was also bullish on XRP, and I think that was back in like November of 2024. So if we do see this, sort of chart repeat, because he's looking at this and he's going all the way back to 2023, and he's just kind of looking at how we have been, trading since then. And then we also have over here the structure. Yeah, I mean, the structure on XRP is very bullish. I don't think that you need to be an expert to look at XRP right now and say, all right, well, structure-wise, it looks very good. I mean, if you're just looking at this, let me clear everything up off of the chart. If you're just looking at this, it looks like we are trading in a consolidated pattern. We already have our slight uptrend here. Okay, and I've talked about this on multiple occasions. The uptrend is actually pretty bullish on XRP. On top of that, this downtrend that we have been in, we've already started to find some weekly support right around $2, right? We've been holding $2 this entire time, since going all the way back to June. This is very bullish. It's telling us that this is significant support. So I do agree with Peter here. We are in this sort of accumulation phase. It's very bullish to see. And on top of that very, bullish phase on XRP, that accumulation phase, the accumulation and consolidation time frame does not last forever. We've witnessed this even before XRP, started to jump in November of 2024. Yeah, we were in accumulation only for a slight amount of time. We lost the uptrend. Then we went into consolidation, and this lasted only roughly like 210 days. From our prior high back in July, we've been trading for about 133 days. But I would argue that this entire time frame, since going all the way back to January, has been a consolidated sort of phase, because the market has been pretty bearish since going all the way back to January of 2025, aka this year, which we're coming up on almost one whole year since we were very bullish on crypto, because most altcoins have yet to make a new high going off of their January highs. But beyond that, yeah, more ETF filings are going live. 21 Shares is going live on Monday. They have about $8 billion in assets under management. This is going to be a big one. And if we go over here, so far, if we're looking at all of the ETFs trading live, we are about to have 8 ETFs trading live for XRP. And I think that it's actually more than 8, because if we're going to the ETF tracker, we have 6 spot-based ones. On top of that, we have 4 leverage ones as well. So we have 10 right now. 21 shares will be 11. We also have coin shares to be determined in terms of their launch and Wisdom Tree to be determined in their launch. I mean, we have still a lot upcoming. And if we're looking at ETF potential, there's still BlackRock, there's still Grayscale, there's still Fidelity. There's a few of these that, or sorry, Grayscale is already live. BlackRock, Fidelity. We also have VanEck, right? These are not filed at all. They're just potential ones. 21 shares is already approved. We're still waiting on Wisdom Tree, but you know, BlackRock and Fidelity, they could be two big ones. Even if we think about VanEck, I mean, again, we could be seeing some pretty big players jumping in on the ETF train for XRP. Now, going off of Friday's volume, Friday was still a pretty good day. I mean, listen, most people are not going to trade Friday because of the holidays and things like that. So again, $23.5 million for spot volume, pretty good. 33 million for leveraged volume as well. Still finishing out the day with over $50+ million in volume. Very good. Now, I will say the ETFs have been declining since the 23rd. A lot of people have been saying, oh, this is because, you know, nobody really cares about the ETFs anymore. They don't even want to tap into the ETFs. The, you know, success has been good, but, you know, now they're starting to diminish. The main reason why I think that the ETFs this week haven't been that great is because of the holiday season. So I do think that we are going to bounce back starting, you know, Monday. And on top of that, we do have another ETF launch on Monday, which could definitely drive some more hype around ETFs. So I'm going to be focusing on this. I've been very happy with how the ETFs have been performing, and I think that that's just going to continue. And then on top of that, right, like if we're thinking about all of this going hand in hand with what's happening in December, you know, right now the chart has been holding steady above, you know, $2, which is very good. Because again, I'm more so looking at this. Let me just remove everything off of the chart. You know, I'm more so looking at XRP in this sort of wave, because if we remove this pump and all of that kind of stuff, and we're just looking at it trading like this, okay, we still have a pretty good structure here. Although, yeah, we're not trading at higher highs or anything like that, look at the lows. We have our low back here in March. We have our slight higher low back in June. And even here, we still have a slight higher low. I know it's not like a crazy higher low, but it's still a pretty good low for us to have on this chart. And it's kind of right around the same levels going back to June anyways. So we are holding macro support here. We have yet to lose macro support, which is very good to see. Now, the main thing that we're looking at is flipping the May highs, which would be right around $2.45. After we flip that, the main thing that I'm looking at is flipping our prior support, which would be right around $2.74. And then after that, we could start to target some of the prior highs, like the December highs, or January highs, sorry, going back to $3.04. And then after that, we just target the all-time highs. Well, this cycle's all-time high, which is right around like $3.47. And a lot of people are now saying that this is the all-time high for XRP because the scam wick from 2017, 2018, that was just a glitch on an exchange overseas. But again, I still kind of go off of $3.84 being the all-time high anyways. But, you know, this would be a new cycle high for this cycle, which will lead to a new all-time high completely, in my opinion. So these four targets are the ones that I'm looking at with XRP. Structure-wise, macro-wise, I mean, it looks still pretty good. With an ETF launch happening on Monday, December 1st being Monday, the Fed potentially flipping, and then also a rate cut on December 10th, I mean, the market is starting to turn bullish again. And I do think that liquidity is improving significantly as well, which is the main thing that we want to watch. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.